What you are about to watch may be disturbing, but this is a true coverage from Reuters, one of the largest news agency in the world. They recently published an investigation and found that the United States has been running a secret to smear China during the pandemic. But before we disclose more info about this, please subscribe to our channel to show your support. The Anti-Vax campaign in the Philippines. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. military started a secret mission to counter what they saw as China's growing influence in the Philippines, a country severely affected by the virus. This secret operation had not been reported before. It was designed to create doubts about the safety and effectiveness of vaccines and other aid provided by China, according to a Reuters investigation. The military used fake internet accounts pretending to be Filipinos to spread their propaganda, which turned into an anti-vax campaign. Social media posts criticized the quality of face masks, test kits, and the first vaccine available in the Philippines, China's Sinovac. Reuters found at least 300 accounts on X, formerly Twitter, that matched the descriptions given by former U.S. military officials familiar with the operation in the Philippines. One of the fake accounts tweeted, "COVID came from China and the vaccine also came from China. Don't trust China." After Reuters asked X about these accounts, the social media company removed them, saying they were part of a coordinated bot campaign based on activity patterns and internal data. The U.S. military's anti-vax campaign started in the spring of 2020 and spread beyond Southeast Asia until it ended in mid-2021. They tailored their propaganda to local audiences in Central Asia and the Middle East, using fake social media accounts on multiple platforms to spread fear about China's vaccines among Muslims. They highlighted the disputed claim that because some vaccines contain pork gelatin, China's shots might be forbidden under Islamic law. This military program began under former President Donald Trump and continued into President Joe Biden's term. Even after social media executives warned the new administration that the Pentagon was spreading COVID misinformation, the program continued. In spring 2021, the Biden White House ordered a stop to the anti-vax campaign, which also criticized vaccines from other rival countries. The Pentagon then started an internal review, according to Reuters. When Reuters informed some American public health experts about the Pentagon's secret anti-vax campaign, they condemned the program, saying it puts civilians at risk for potential geopolitical gain. They argued that an operation meant to win hearts and minds actually endangered lives. The fake accounts used by the military gathered tens of thousands of followers during the campaign. Because of the U.S. propaganda efforts, then Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte became so frustrated with the low number of Filipinos willing to get vaccinated that he threatened to arrest people who refused the shots. "You choose vaccine or I will have you jailed," a masked Duterte said in a televised address in June 2021. "There is a crisis in this country. I'm just exasperated by Filipinos not heeding the government." When President Duterte addressed the vaccination issue, the Philippines had one of the worst inoculation rates in Southeast Asia. Only 2.1 million of its 114 million citizens were fully vaccinated, far below the government's target of 70 million. By that time, COVID cases had exceeded 1.3 million, and almost 24,000 Filipinos had died from the virus. The struggle to vaccinate the population contributed to the highest death rate in the region. U.S. propaganda to smear China. The U.S. relationship with Manila had grown tense after Duterte's election in 2016. As a vocal critic of the United States, he had threatened to cancel a key agreement that allowed the U.S. military to maintain legal jurisdiction over American troops in the country. After the COVID outbreak, China launched a significant assistance program sending masks, ventilators, and its own vaccines to struggling countries, including the Philippines. This move alarmed Washington, as China's offers of aid were shifting the geopolitical balance in the developing world. U.S. military leaders were concerned that China's COVID diplomacy and propaganda might draw other Southeast Asian countries like Cambodia and Malaysia closer to Beijing, advancing its regional ambitions. This fear led the United States to start the propaganda campaign against China that Reuters uncovered. Today, the U.S. military uses a vast network of social media influencers, front groups, and covert digital ads to influence overseas audiences, according to current and former military officials. There's no Chinese debt trap. The lesson here is clear. Don't trust everything you see on the internet, especially on social media platforms. Anyone can create a fake account and start spreading misinformation. This is particularly true when it comes to China-related issues. For instance, during Sri Lanka's economic crisis in 2022, there were widespread claims that Sri Lanka had fallen into a Chinese debt trap and went bankrupt due to heavy debt from China's Belt and Road Initiative. However, The Atlantic found that there is no Chinese debt trap, and China did not seize the Hambantota port. Instead, the Sri Lankan government requested China to bail out the port after it incurred heavy losses. China neither enticed nor forced Sri Lanka to borrow money. Sri Lanka's total sovereign debt is about $65 billion, with China accounting for only $8.5 billion of that, including $1.12 billion for the Hambantota port. The port's failure is mainly due to Sri Lanka being an emerging country lacking management skills and an international cooperation network. Once these issues are addressed, Hambantota Port is expected to have a very bright future. Many news agencies, including the New York Times, allegedly smeared China by claiming it lured Sri Lanka into a debt trap under the Belt and Road Initiative. However, we now know that the port project began in 2007, while the BRI was launched in 2013, and the lending was not tied to any strategy. Fake news about Xinjiang forced labor. The same happened with the Xinjiang Uyghur minorities. Western media claimed there was a genocide by the Chinese government against the Uyghurs, but the truth is that the Uyghur population is growing the fastest among the minority populations. As of 2020, Xinjiang has a population of 25.9 million, with the Uyghur ethnic group accounting for approximately 11.6 million, making them the largest ethnic group in the region. Many travelers who visited China and went to Xinjiang were surprised because it was not as they had heard or seen from the media. There is no forced labor in the Xinjiang region. The West accused China of forcing Xinjiang Uyghurs to pick cotton, leading major brands to ban the use of cotton from Xinjiang. The Chinese government has stated that the allegation of forced labor in Xinjiang is a lie propagated by anti-China elements to smear the country. Many people believe these allegations because Western media often portrays China as a poor country that still relies heavily on hard labor. In the case of Uyghur forced labor, many people still think cotton picking in Xinjiang is done by hand. In reality, cotton harvesting in Xinjiang is done by machines, not human labor. Ironically, by banning the use of Xinjiang cotton, major brands are not helping the people of Xinjiang. Instead, they are causing Uyghurs to lose their jobs and incomes. In conclusion, the internet is full of misinformation. What Reuters discovered about the Anti-Vax campaign in the Philippines is just one example of propaganda from the United States. With the upcoming U.S. election and growing tensions between China and the U.S., there will likely be more propaganda from both sides. Do you agree with our video? Share your thoughts and leave your comments below. If you liked what you watched, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to show your support.